This is the Terracotta Army, 8,000 warriors buried over 2,000 years ago, one of the greatest wonders of the world. Each face is individual, unique.
For more than 2,000 years, thousands of clay soldiers have stood quietly under the ground, hiding one of the biggest mysteries in history. Many experts believed they already knew why the Terracotta Army was built.
This is the first emperor's army. He ordered his real army to be recreated in clay and buried with him, ready to fight his battles in the afterlife.
But in 2026, Grok AI studied the evidence again and found details that many people believe had been overlooked. Could the Terracotta Army have a different purpose than people have believed for years? What if the biggest secret is still waiting to be uncovered? Join us in this video as we reveal the details. Grok AI solved the Terracotta Army mystery in 2026. For more than 2,000 years, one of the greatest secrets in history stayed hidden under the dry land near Xi'an in China. Nobody knew that thousands of life-sized clay soldiers were buried deep below the ground. They were placed there to protect Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China, after his death. This amazing discovery was not planned. It happened by pure accident. In 1974, a group of farmers were digging a well because their village was suffering from a serious drought. They hoped to find water for their families and farms. As one of the farmers dug deeper into the ground, his shovel suddenly hit something hard. At first, he believed it was nothing more than broken pottery or old building materials. But as he kept digging, he uncovered the head of a large clay statue. Soon, more pieces appeared. There were parts of a body, pieces of armor, and bronze arrowheads buried in the soil. The farmers did not know what they had found. Some even thought about selling the bronze pieces because they looked valuable. Thankfully, a local cultural worker heard about the strange discovery and quickly came to inspect the site. The moment he saw the clay figures, he realized they were very important. He gathered the broken pieces and informed archaeologists. Soon, experts arrived and began careful digging. As they removed more earth, they uncovered something that shocked the world. Hidden beneath the farmland was a huge underground army that had remained untouched for over 2,000 years. The discovery became one of the greatest archaeological finds ever made. A large museum was later built over the site to protect it and allow people from around the world to see it. As more digging continued, experts learned why the army had been built. The clay soldiers were not made just to look impressive. They were created to guard Emperor Qin Shi Huang after his death. The emperor believed he would continue to rule in the next life just as he had ruled on Earth. Instead of burying thousands of real soldiers with him, craftsmen made thousands of clay warriors to serve and protect him forever. Every soldier was placed with great care. Most of them faced east, toward the lands the emperor had once conquered. Their positions showed that they were ready for battle even after death. The underground army was arranged exactly like a real military force waiting for orders. As the work continued, experts realized the size of the site was far greater than anyone expected. More than 8,000 clay warriors have been found, along with over 100 chariots and hundreds of horses. Even today, large parts of the underground complex have not been uncovered. The way the warriors were made is just as amazing as their number. Each statue stands between about 5.5 and 6 feet tall. They were not carved from one block of clay. Different body parts were made separately before being joined together. The legs, body, arms, hands, and head were all carefully connected while the clay was still soft. Skilled workers then shaped every small detail by hand. They carved the faces, hair, fingers, clothing, armor, belts, and even tiny lines around the mouth. Although thousands of soldiers were made, no two faces look exactly the same. Some appear calm. Others look serious, proud, or ready to fight. Scientists also studied the clay used to build the army. They found it was made from local soil mixed with other natural materials that made the statues stronger and easier to shape. The work was carried out in large workshops where many skilled workers worked together under careful planning. Some parts were made with molds to save time, but artists still finished every warrior by hand. This gave each figure its own unique appearance. In 2026, new technology helped experts learn even more about these ancient soldiers. Grok AI worked with detailed 3D scans to study thousands of small features on the warriors' faces. It compared tiny details like the shape of the ears, the size of the nose, the curve of the chin, and the balance of each face. The results surprised many researchers. They found that the faces were so different from one another that they may have been based on real people instead of being created from imagination. Many experts now believe that some of the highest-ranking officers may have been modeled after real military commanders who served under Emperor Qin Shi Huang. If the Terracotta Army was only the beginning, what incredible secrets are still hidden beneath the emperor's silent burial mound, waiting to be uncovered? Let's delve deeper. The emperor's hidden underground kingdom. For more than 2,000 years, a huge secret has rested beneath a quiet hill in China. From the outside, the hill looks simple and peaceful. Trees grow around it. Grass covers the ground. Birds fly above it every day. To someone passing by, it looks like any other hill. But deep below the surface is something far more amazing. Historians believe this hill hides the final resting place of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of a united China. His burial place is not believed to be an ordinary tomb. Reports describe it as a giant underground palace built to look like the emperor's own kingdom. It was designed so that even after death, he could continue to rule just as he had ruled while he was alive. Builders created large halls, long passages, towers, rooms, gardens, and open spaces beneath the earth. Every part of the underground world was carefully planned. Nothing was left to chance. The emperor wanted everything to look complete because he believed his journey would continue after death. Historical records say that more than 700,000 people worked on this massive project. Skilled craftsmen, builders, laborers, prisoners, and artists all took part in building the enormous burial complex. Some carried heavy stones. Others shaped bricks and clay. Some made beautiful decorations, while others dug deep into the earth for many years. The work lasted for decades. It became one of the biggest building projects of the ancient world. Every wall, every room, and every pathway was carefully placed to show the emperor's power and greatness. The deeper researchers study the site, the more they realize that this was much more than a burial place. It was a complete underground kingdom built for one man. One of the strangest stories connected to the tomb speaks about rivers made from liquid mercury. Ancient writers explained that the builders did not use real water. Instead, they filled channels with mercury so the rivers would continue flowing forever. During that time, many people believed mercury held magical powers. They believed it could protect a person and even help them live forever. To the emperor, these shining rivers may have represented endless life and endless power. For hundreds of years, many people believed these stories were only legends, but modern science has made people think. Again, researchers collected soil samples around the burial mound and discovered unusually high amounts of mercury beneath the ground. The readings were far higher than what would normally be found in the area. These discoveries have made many experts believe that the ancient stories may have been based on real events. If the reports are correct, huge amounts of mercury could still be hidden inside the sealed tomb today. Another mystery surrounding the tomb is the powerful security system said to protect it. Ancient records describe automatic crossbows that could fire at anyone who entered without permission. Hidden traps were also said to have been placed throughout the underground passages. Deep pits and dangerous tunnels were designed to stop anyone from reaching the emperor's resting place. While no one knows exactly how many of these defenses still exist, experts believe the builders were skilled enough to create many clever ways of protecting the tomb. These possible dangers are one reason why the burial chamber has never been opened. Modern archaeologists know that entering such a place without proper technology could destroy priceless history forever. In recent years, technology has brought fresh attention to the mystery. In 2026, Grok AI examined large collections of archaeological information together with detailed digital scans. The system searched through thousands of images, measurements, and historical records. It compared details much faster than any human researcher could. The results surprised many experts. The study suggested that the Terracotta Army may only be one small part of a much larger underground world. It pointed to possible hidden chambers, forgotten structures, and patterns that had not been fully understood before. Some researchers now believe the clay soldiers were not simply standing guard over one burial room. Instead, they may have formed part of a much larger design that represented the emperor's complete empire beneath the ground. This idea has encouraged experts to continue studying the site without disturbing the sealed tomb itself. Another dark story connected to the burial complex involves the people who served the emperor during his lifetime. Ancient records claim that after the emperor died, some palace women, trusted servants, guards, and officials were buried with him so they could continue serving him in the next world. Some reports even suggest that several concubines who had never given birth were buried alive inside the burial complex. Whether every detail is true is still debated by historians, but these stories reveal how strongly the emperor believed in absolute loyalty. He wanted the same people who served him in life to remain with him after death. It also shows how much control he wanted over everything around him. Even after more than 2,000 years, the emperor's tomb remains sealed beneath the earth. No one has entered the central burial chamber. Scientists believe today's technology is still not advanced enough to protect everything inside if the tomb is opened. Air, moisture, and changes in temperature could destroy objects that have survived for thousands of years. If Qin Shi Huang built such an incredible underground kingdom to protect his legacy after death, then who was the man powerful enough to command it all? And how did he rise to become the first emperor of a united China? Let's find out. The rise of a powerful emperor and the legacy he left behind. Long before Qin Shi Huang became the first emperor of China, the land was filled with war. There was no single country called China. Instead, the land was divided into several powerful kingdoms. Each kingdom had its own ruler, its own army, and its own laws. These kingdoms fought one another again and again for many years. Villages were destroyed, farms were burned, families were forced to leave their homes. Many people spent their lives surrounded by fear because nobody knew when another battle would begin. Around 221 BC, he achieved something that no ruler before him had ever done. He united the divided kingdoms into one empire. For the first time, the land became one nation under one ruler. Because of this great achievement, he became known as the first emperor of China. Winning battles was only the beginning of his work. Qin Shi Huang believed that a strong country needed more than soldiers. He wanted people across the empire to live under the same rules. He introduced one set of laws that everyone had to obey. He made sure the same style of writing was used throughout the empire so people from different regions could understand one another. He also made weights and measurements the same everywhere. Before this, people used different systems, making trade difficult and confusing. These changes made business easier and helped the empire become more organized. One of his biggest economic changes was the introduction of one official currency. Before his rule, every region had its own coins. This created problems because traders often struggled to buy and sell goods in different places. Qin Shi Huang ended this confusion by introducing one standard bronze coin for the entire empire. Everyone was expected to use the same money. Farmers could sell their crops more easily. Merchants no longer needed to exchange different coins before doing business. Tax collectors also found their work much easier because they only had one type of currency to collect. This simple change helped trade grow and made the empire stronger. The emperor also understood that good roads were important. He ordered the construction of long roads connecting cities across the empire. These roads allowed merchants to travel faster with their goods. Farmers could take their harvests to larger markets. Families could travel more easily between different regions. At the same time, the roads helped soldiers move quickly whenever danger appeared. Better roads improved both trade and national security. Qin Shi Huang also ordered the building of large defensive walls along the northern border. These walls later became part of what is now known as the Great Wall of China. The wall helped protect the empire from attacks and made important trade routes safer. Thousands of workers took part in building these massive projects. Although the work was extremely difficult, the roads and walls helped strengthen the country for many years. As the emperor grew older, however, another fear began to control his life. He became deeply afraid of death. After spending so many years building a powerful empire, he could not accept the thought of losing everything. He wanted to live forever. This fear became stronger as time passed. He sent trusted men across distant lands searching for magical medicines and secret formulas that promised eternal life. Many of these so-called medicines contained mercury because people at the time believed it held special powers. They believed mercury could protect the body and keep a person alive forever. Today, scientists know that mercury is extremely poisonous. Instead of helping him, these substances may have slowly damaged his body. Many historians believe that his search for immortality may have shortened his life instead of extending it. Qin Shi Huang died in 210 BC while traveling across his empire. His death created great fear among the people closest to him. Some officials worried that if news spread too quickly, enemies might attack before a new ruler was chosen. According to historical accounts, his death was kept secret for a time while important decisions were made behind closed doors. During this period, a bitter struggle for power began. Records claim that a false order was written in the emperor's name. The message instructed Crown Prince Fusu to end his own life. Believing the order truly came from his father, Fusu obeyed. After his death, the younger son, Qin Shi, became emperor. His rule was marked by fear and violence. Reports say many members of the royal family were assassinated because they were seen as possible threats to the new ruler. Several palace women also lost their lives during this troubled period. Archaeologists later discovered graves near the emperor's mausoleum, believed to contain nearly 100 women, adding more mystery to the stories surrounding the emperor's final years. Although the Qin dynasty did not last long after Qin Shi Huang's death, the changes he introduced continued shaping China for centuries. His dream of one united nation survived long after his empire disappeared. His system of common laws, one writing style, one currency, better roads, and improved trade became the foundation for future rulers. Even today, historians continue to describe Qin Shi Huang as one of the most important and complicated leaders in history. Some remember him as a brilliant ruler who united a divided land and built the foundations of a great nation. Others remember him for his harsh punishments, strict control, and endless desire for power. Both views remain part of his story. More than 2,000 years after his death, his influence can still be seen across China. His silent army of clay soldiers continues to guard his hidden tomb, while the mystery surrounding his life and burial keeps people around the world searching for answers. His story remains one of ambition, power, fear, and a legacy that has never truly disappeared. If the Terracotta Army was only built to guard a dead emperor, why was every soldier made so different? And what other secrets could their careful design be hiding? Let's learn more. The hidden clues that changed the Terracotta Army mystery. One of the most surprising things researchers found about the Terracotta Army is that every single soldier looks different. Even though there are more than 8,000 clay warriors, no two have exactly the same face. Each one has its own eyes, nose, mouth, hairstyle, and facial expression. Some look young, while others look much older. Their clothes are also different. Their armor is not the same. Some carry different weapons, while others wear different head coverings. These small details show that the figures were made to represent different ranks and different jobs in the emperor's army. The amount of work needed to create so many different statues is almost impossible to imagine. Skilled workers spent years shaping every figure by hand. Many experts believe the artists may have looked at real soldiers while making the statues. If that is true, then many of these clay warriors may have been based on real people who once served in the emperor's army. Researchers have also noticed that some of the statues and some of the weapons have marks, cracks, and damage. A few experts believe this damage may have happened before the statues were buried. This has led to questions about whether some weapons were used before they were placed inside the tomb. However, no one has been able to prove this with complete certainty, so the discussion continues among experts. Another part of the mystery comes from the way the soldiers were arranged underground. Many military experts have carefully studied the positions of the warriors. They noticed that the soldiers were not standing like guards protecting something from every direction. Instead, many of them were placed in battle formations that looked ready to move forward. The front lines, side groups, and battle positions looked similar to the way a real army would prepare before going into a fight. Because of this, some researchers have started asking new questions. They wonder if the army may have had another purpose besides protecting the emperor after his death. This idea has attracted attention because it offers a different way of looking at the burial site. Even so, there is still no solid proof that this new idea is correct. Most historians still believe the army was built to serve and protect the emperor in the next life. The discussion is still going on, and experts continue to study the evidence. The weapons found with the soldiers have also amazed scientists. Thousands of bronze swords, spearheads, arrowheads, and crossbow parts were buried with the army. Even after more than 2,000 years under the ground, many of these weapons remained in very good condition. Some of the blades were still shiny, sharp, and strong. This surprised researchers because bronze usually becomes damaged after such a long time. Scientists later found small traces of chromium on some of the weapons. Chromium helps protect metal from rust and damage. This discovery raised even more questions because such protection seemed far ahead of its time. However, not every expert agrees on how the chromium reached the weapons. Some researchers believe it came from a protective lacquer that was placed on nearby wooden parts, instead of being added directly to the metal. Others continue to study the evidence to better understand what happened. Because of this, the exact reason why the weapons stayed in such good condition is still being debated. The excellent condition of the weapons has also led to another interesting discussion. Some researchers believe the weapons were kept in working condition because they were meant to be fully useful, not simply placed in the tomb as decorations. This idea has caused people to ask whether the weapons had a practical purpose inside the burial complex. However, there is no accepted scientific evidence that proves the weapons were expected to be used after they were buried. For now, this remains only a theory and not an established historical fact. Mercury is another part of the mystery that continues to interest researchers. In ancient China, many people believed Mercury was connected to eternal life, change, and special. What if the biggest mystery was not the emperor himself, but the carefully organized army that was built beneath the ground to serve him? Stay tuned for more. An underground army, built like a real battlefield. Long before modern machines and advanced technology existed, thousands of clay soldiers were carefully placed beneath the ground as part of one of the greatest building projects in history. These were not random statues placed wherever there was space. Every soldier had a specific position. Every row had a purpose. Every section followed a careful military plan. When archaeologists studied the first excavation area, they discovered that the soldiers were standing in formations almost exactly like a real army preparing for war. At the front stood the advanced troops. Their duty would have been to meet the enemy first if a battle had begun. Behind them stood long rows of armored soldiers carrying weapons. They formed the main body of the army. Along both sides and at the back were more warriors placed in positions that would protect the larger group from attacks coming from different directions. The entire arrangement looked less like a group of statues and more like an army waiting for orders. This level of planning amazed researchers because it showed that the builders understood military strategy very well. The underground army was not only large, it was also organized with great care. As more digging continued, archaeologists discovered that the underground complex was divided into different sections, and each one appeared to have its own military duty. The largest area contained thousands of infantry soldiers standing in long lines. Another section held horses, war chariots, mounted soldiers, and archers. The archers were placed in positions that looked ready for battle, while the cavalry stood prepared to move quickly if needed. The chariots were arranged as though they were waiting for the signal to charge into combat. This showed that the builders wanted every part of the army to look realistic. A smaller section contained only a few important officers and one chariot pulled by 4 horses. Because of its design, many experts believe this area served as the army's command center. It was likely meant to represent the place where top military leaders would give orders and control the rest of the force. Then came another surprising discovery. One of the underground pits was completely empty. Unlike the others, there were no soldiers, no horses, no weapons, and no signs that the work had ever been completed. Researchers found only an unfinished chamber beneath the earth. This raised many questions. Why was this part left empty while the others were filled with thousands of carefully made figures? Many experts believe construction stopped suddenly after the emperor died. Others believe there may have been political problems or changes inside the empire that forced workers to abandon the project before it was finished. No one knows the exact reason because no written record gives a clear answer. The empty chamber remains one of the greatest mysteries connected to the Terracotta Army. Even today, researchers continue to study it, hoping that future discoveries may finally explain why such an enormous project was left incomplete. If the army was built with such careful planning, what other hidden details were waiting to be discovered beneath the clay and centuries of dust? Let's take a closer look. The faces, colors, and secrets that still remain hidden. As researchers continued studying the Terracotta Army, they discovered that the soldiers were much more than simple clay statues. Modern computer technology was used to examine their faces in great detail. The results surprised many experts. The study showed that the shapes of the ears, the small differences between the 2 sides of the face, and many other facial details closely matched those found in real human beings. These natural differences were far too detailed and to appear by chance. Because of this, many researchers believe that at least some of the statues, especially the officers, may have been created using real soldiers as models. If this idea is correct, the Terracotta Army is not simply a collection of imaginary figures. It could also be a collection of realistic portraits, showing people who actually served under China's first emperor more than 2,000 years ago. Another discovery completely changed how people imagined the army. Today, the warriors look gray because they are made from clay. But this was not how they looked when they were first created. Every soldier was covered with bright colors. Their armor, clothing, hair, and faces were carefully painted using red, blue, purple, pink, and several other colors. The builders even created a special man-made color known today as Chinese purple. Making this color required great skill and very high temperatures. It showed that ancient craftsmen had knowledge that was far ahead of their time. Before the paint was added, every statue received a protective layer made from tree sap. This smooth coating helped the colors stay bright and gave the warriors a lifelike appearance. Sadly, much of this beauty disappeared almost immediately after the statues were uncovered. Once fresh air reached the ancient coating, it dried very quickly. As it shrank, the paint cracked, curled, and fell away. In many cases, colors that had survived underground for more than 2,000 years disappeared within only a few hours. The loss was so serious that archaeologists stopped some excavations until better ways of protecting the statues could be developed. Even today, experts move very carefully whenever new figures are uncovered. While thousands of warriors have already been found, the emperor's main burial chamber still remains sealed. Archaeologists believe opening it with today's technology could destroy priceless objects that have remained untouched for centuries. There are also serious concerns that dangerous mercury may still exist inside the tomb. If that is true, opening the chamber without proper protection could place researchers in great danger. Because of these risks, scientists continue to study the site using modern technology without entering the tomb itself. For now, the emperor's burial chamber remains closed, keeping many of its secrets hidden beneath the earth, while researchers patiently wait for safer methods that may one day reveal what has remained unseen for more than 2,000 years. What do you think about the mystery of the Terracotta Army? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for joining us as we explored the hidden secrets of the Terracotta Army. If you enjoyed this report, please like and subscribe. Click on the next video for more amazing stories. See you there.